Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante. I'm here with my co-host on the Comedy Film Nerds podcast and YouTube channel, Chris Mancini.
I'm trying to look pensive.
You're looking very pensive. We're here in our world headquarters and with, I don't know, not great lighting, but who gives a shit?
It's YouTube.
It's YouTube.
Yeah.
Come on. But we wanted to talk, since we do a movie review podcast, I wanted to have Chris on Political Vigilante and talk about what his favorite political movies are.
Technically, I'm a return guest.
Yeah,
Yes.
He is a return guest. He has been on, it's been a while. Return guest, Chris Mancini.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite movies were, how many days of the Condor were there?
There were three days of the Condor. It was a long weekend of Condor.
Yeah, it was a lot of condoring. And I really liked that movie, and I liked the political intrigue, and I really liked Max von Sydow's character, like how he was literally just a fixer,
Right.
where, you know, if he wasn't paid to kill you, he's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
You know, if you know, like the Joker said, if you're good at something, you don't do it for free.
You don't do it for free.
So he was like literally a soulless hitman killer for the government, and it was interesting to see. It's very dated now, but how ultimately that's probably what the NSA used to look like.
Right.
You know, these offices with filing cabinets and
Max von Sydow with a black hat.
Yeah. People going through line by line on paper. You know, there was no, you know, giant analyst typing code every second. So I really like that one, but I'll tell you, I think my favorite
I want to say real quick, though, about Three Doors of the Condor that I think is interesting, especially if there's any young fans out there or anyone who's never seen it, regardless of age. Why I think it's important is it's the first movie, or one of the first movies, that kind of showed the global business of war and corporations.
Right.
And the conspiracies surrounding that just made Robert Redford be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You know, and some of the conversations he had and how the CIA was starting to operate. It was one of the first big mainstream movies that sort of showed that. But what else were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say one of my favorite movies that was it generated some controversy when it came out was Syriana.
Oh, yeah.
Which I really loved. This is when Steven Soderbergh and George Clooney had a company together and were making movies. And I love when dumb people ask filmmakers questions. Like, they were on an interview show, and they asked George Clooney, well, it's a very confusing movie. Are you afraid audiences aren't going to get it? And I love George Clooney. He responded with, well, we made a movie for adults.
Sorry.
So, but what I loved about it is the way it really dug in deep to the politics of the Middle East and the American presence and influence in that region.
Oil industry and
of the country.
All of that.
Of all the different countries. You know, it was a pretend country, but it could have been any country in the Middle East. And one of the things that I also liked about it was that it showed a little piece of every side of what goes on over in that part of the world and what influence we have on it. Like, you got to see, like, what's the mechanism for creating a suicide bomber? And you got to see, like, oh, you have abject poverty, you have totalitarian regimes, and you have brainwashing, and you have, you know, these kids that basically you feed them, they're going to start listening to your dogma. And then, you know, so it actually showed that. And there were some dumb pundits when it came out saying, oh, it glorified suicide bombing. No, it didn't. It showed you what the mechanism was and why it exists and how it gets created. So, whenever someone gives insight, then they get criticized. It's amazing. So I really liked it, and I really liked the way it just showed everything that was going on in the Middle East, the different sides, and also how there's a prince, I think his name was Siddig, I can't remember the actor's name, Siddig Bashir. No, Bashir was his character's name on Deep Space Nine. But Siddig Al-Farad.
Another great political.
Yeah. A lot of politics in Deep Space Nine. But it showed, like, as the ruler of one of these countries, you know, Middle East country, like, what he can do and what he can't do, where his hands are tied, where, you know, he's got all this wealth. Why can't he make his country better? And here are all the obstacles why. And, you know, a lot of it is political will, culture, Western influence, like all of these things together.
That was the thing that was interesting about Syriana, was it's like hearing the oil tycoons like, we need the Middle East unstable.
Yeah.
So we can take advantage of it, because if they have a thriving democracy, every time a Middle Eastern country went, you know what, we want a control of our own oil, oh, suddenly there's a regime change.
Right.
And Syriana really, as complex and as dense as it is, and they made it, they simplified it from the book to the movie. Right. And it still is it's one of those movies you have to watch several times and you go, wow.
Every time you watch it, you get a little bit more out of it, because it doesn't treat you like George Clooney said, it's a movie for adults. It doesn't treat you like children. It's like, you know, let me spoon feed this to you. I'm like, no, here's how it is. It's going to be complex. It's going to be complicated, and it demands a second viewing. And also, George Clooney's character is based on a real guy. Yeah. A CIA operative. You know, I saw him. I didn't know that when I saw the movie. Then when I saw him, like, I think that's the same guy as the character on his you know, on in the movie. And then he starts showing up on talk shows, the actual guy. Yeah. So it was really a well done, well put together film. And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it, because even now it's
so relevant.
Yeah, it's really relevant.
And we'll get that phone call in a second.
Yeah, but, it's just a solicitor.
Just a solicitor. Yeah. Crystal has a home phone.
Yeah, for solicitors to confuse them.
The thing about Syriana too, it's as Colin Powell said, the Middle East is the most complicated geopolitical landscape in the history of the human race, and Syriana shows you that.
Yes, exactly.
The other movie,
it's not cut and dry.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. The movie that I really like is Bob Roberts, because
that's a really good one.
It's sort of satire, but it really shows how the system we have is so easily corruptible, and how someone can just come in and push these buttons and play this narrative in the
conservative folk singer,
and it was just like born out of a marketing thing, you know, and so that movie is and it really,
and it's funny too.
It's funny, but it calls out, like, when Bob Roberts is going to be on that Saturday Night Live type show. And they were calling out NBC, which is owned by General Electric at the time, which made weapons of mass destructions in addition to to toaster ovens. And there was a sketch they're doing in that show that John Cusack is like rehearsing, and then Bob Roberts shows up, and Bob Roberts is like, "Oh, hey, big fan," and Cusack's like, yeah. But it just shows the manipulation of the media and how politicians are just fabricated, like actors, you know, they just
they're pro wrestlers.
Yeah, they are. They're like pro wrestlers, exactly. And that's the thing that I really liked about Bob Roberts.
Yeah, that was a really good one too.
Well, guys, this has been the Political Vigilante with comedy film nerd Chris Mancini, giving you some of our favorite political movies. In the comment section below, why don't you guys write out, tell me what your favorite political movies are.
There's a lot more. We haven't covered all of them.
Yeah, we haven't covered all of them. Maybe we'll do another video. Who knows? And of course, like and subscribe. They've been unsubscribing us. And go to the patreon.com/Graham Elwood to support the show. Thank you so much for making Gotham great again.